Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Bumper here, back tonight with episode 9 of the 39. The 39 is this ongoing series I've been doing with Double Bill Movies, my main man Trevor. Obviously we're going through the 39 category 1 video nasties. Okay, today we're on the final title that begins with B because we're going through them in alphabetical order. So today we've got the 1981 slasher movie, The Burning. Okay, so unlike some of these movies, and some of this is in hindsight, but The Burning comes with a bit more, I suppose, Hollywood glitter than some of these other films. Okay, it's produced by the Weinsteins, it's their first ever movie. I mean, however you feel about that these days, but you know, back then, they were just up and comers, and this is the first one. So yeah, that's one point of interest. And then you've got a solid cast as well. You've got Holly Hunter is in this film, if only very briefly. David Alexander, I think is his name. I think he plays a guy called David. It might be Jason Alexander, I think maybe his name is. And also you've got the chap that Trev's mentioned in his notes. His name's Woodstock in the film, but his name in real life is Fisher Stevens, and he plays the guy with the glasses in Johnny 5, Short Circuit 1 and 2, so you'd instantly recognise him. But he's really young in this, so I wouldn't have known it was him unless, you know, I looked into it afterwards. All right then, so The Burning is part of the category 1 video nasty list, so me and Trev, we had to watch it, and I gotta be honest, it was no chore, because it is actually a fantastic slasher movie. So before I give you my opinions, I'm going to go on to Trev's notes. So he starts off with positives towards the movie. Horror effects by Tom Savini. So that's the first point. And yeah, you know, if you had a movie in the 80s that was heavy on the practical effects, then there's a good chance that Tom Savini was involved. Apparently, Tom Savini chose this film over Friday the 13th. He had a choice, and he thought there was more legs in The Burning than Friday the 13th as a franchise. But yeah, we all know how that went. So Trev goes on to say that the picture quality on the steelbook that he owns from Arrow is perfect. All the detail you want, but the right amount of grain to keep that gritty horror film look in the right places. And it doesn't need to be crusty. So yeah, this was never going to be a crusty production like a lot of the other ones, because it did have a bit of money behind it and a bit of backing. So it does look nice. I mean, it is of its time, 1981. But the version I watched as well, I thought the picture quality was absolutely fantastic. So I watched it on streaming on the Arrow player, so I'm sure it's near enough the same quality. And yeah, it was great, like I say, the right amount level of grain, and yeah, lovely picture quality. Then Trev goes on to say what we mentioned earlier. It's great to see Fisher Stevens, who played Woodstock, in a role before he played Ben in the Short Circuit film. So yeah, he was in it. And like I said, Holly Hunter was also in it as well. Trev goes on to make some comments about the sound. The mono audio really works for the film. It does not need a surround sound mix of any kind to enjoy it. If a mix was done really well, of course, it could enhance the experience. Okay, so I'm not a big sound guy, but yeah, I did have no issues with sound. Yeah, there was no problems at all. All the kills are brilliant, and the acting was spot on. So yeah, okay, so to talk about the acting first of all, what this film does have, which some of his counterparts couldn't quite muster, is the really good camaraderie between all the people in the camp. When you watch the Friday the 13th films and things, they're all kind of like at each other's throats, but in this, they do all feel like buddies. You know, and like I said, there is a good banter between them and a good chemistry, which is not always hard to get. Well, sorry, which is not always hard to get, which is hard to get in these 80s films, but it does really help you kind of root for the characters and sort of get on board with what's going on. So yeah, it was definitely a winner from the acting point of view. And the kills are brilliant. So yeah, the kills are absolutely spot on. No doubt that's going to be the reason why it's on the category 1 list for the video nasties. I mean, Cropsey was your killer, your Jason Voorhees type killer, and his weapon of choice is the big garden shears, reminiscent to Friday the 13th Part 5. There is a similar kill in the woods to that. But yeah, he does use some other methods of killing as well. And this real good gore on show. Okay, this is kind of brutish, kind of bullyish sort of guy. He's a bit annoying. His name's Glazer. And oh yeah, he gets it good, fair dues. And it's quite appeasing for the crowd to see it as well, him getting butchered. We've got this other guy in it, Alfred. He's like sort of the main guy, I suppose, apart from the camp leader, Todd. But like, you're supposed to like him and want to root for him. He's like a right perv. He gets caught spying on the girls in the shower. and all this, like, and that bully guy hates him. But yeah, like I said, it all makes for a good camaraderie in the end. The guy Todd, who sort of like is like the leader, he kind of reminds me of a young Benedict Cumberbatch a bit when I look at him. He was a good actor. I thought he had good charisma. So yeah, all in all, that was all spot on. So Trev talks about negatives. He's going to say there's none really. Just the still used to show the flashback of Karen's death, stood out like a sore thumb. So yeah, so the still they showed for the flashback of Karen's death, yeah, it didn't look great. He is right. And there's also a kill with the knife as Gad shears through the throat, and it's fantastic. I love practical effects. I can't knock it for his time, but it does look a bit fake now. I got to be honest, the big long neck. But yeah, at the time it would have been great, so I can't moan too much about that. So, all right then, on to the questions that we always ask now then, as part of the series. Does it feel like watching a video nasty? So Trev's saying, on Blu-ray, no. But if I saw The Burning back in the 80s on VHS, I would have said yes. Okay, yeah, so I would struggle to say this feels like a video nasty because there's so many similar films out at the time that weren't categorized in the nasties, like Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, things like that. So yeah, I think it's yeah, I don't think it felt like a video nasty, but it was still a good gory horror film. Should it be a video nasty? So Trev says no, but it's pretty graphic. So yeah, just echoing my sentiments there. I don't think it should be a video nasty either, but it does have gross kills. I mean, the thing with a slasher film, before you go into it, you're excited by the gross kills, aren't you? You want to see them grosser the better. They don't quite hit you in the same way as if it was like someone being heavily butchered and tortured in a gut-wrenching way. There's fun to be had in these slashers. So yeah, definitely agree. And Trev also says it's way too good and sophisticated a film to be part of the 39. So yeah, I mean, it's levels above the other movies for production value so far and sort of acting chops and special effects work. So yeah, I totally agree with what Trevor said on both of those. And then always the third question we always ask, should a modern day horror fan check it out? So Trev said yes, you should have already seen it. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of with him. You need to check this out. You know, if you're going to go around saying Friday the 13th is one of the quintessential summertime slashers from the 80s, he wrote the book and all this, then same with Halloween, and you really need to make sure you've seen The Burning before you start making too many comparisons. So there's an overview then from Trev. So in his overview, you can tell he loves this film, Trev. You know, he speaks glowingly about it. I can't fault it. He says a perfectly crafted and well executed horror film, far better than all the Friday the 13th and the Halloweens. A very visceral film to watch. I found it all quite real in the sense of how things played out. Characters, how they get played out. It's quite a while before the first kill at the camp, but you are led to believe a couple of characters will get bumped off sooner than they do. So a few false starts, then boom, Cropsy is off. Let the body count begin. Got to love the orderly trying to scare the intern and it backfiring near the beginning of the film. Okay, so I'll just pick up on a few things Trev said there about it being very visceral and found it all quite real and how things played out. Yeah, this is going back to the testament of the acting and the chemistry between the characters. There's one notorious scene now where a few of the kids, they take they build a raft because some cops he's let all the boats go. They think it's a girl in a rage who's sort of let all the boats go, but it's really Cropsy. So a couple of them escape on a raft. And anyway, as they're rafting down the river, they come across one of their boats and they go to have a little look into it. And yeah, all hell breaks loose. This wild kill scene where Cropsy takes out about 4 of them. And it's just insane. It's one of the best mass murder scenes you'll see in an 80s slasher, that's for sure. It's absolutely fantastic. And then Trev says about it's quite a while before the first kill. Yeah, if I had to give any negative to the film, it would be there's a slight pacing issue. There is quite a horrendous kill at the start. Not maybe horrendous in a way that's really graphic, but it's a bit heavy where he just butchers a prostitute. But I mean, this prostitute's ridiculous. Like, this guy's so weird and whatever, and she's just stripping off in front of him, no questions asked. So she kind of got what she deserved, I suppose. But then I think you probably go about 45 to 50 minutes then until the killing started happening in the camp. But it's fine because that's where you get the character building, and it's not heavy character building. You know, you're not getting bogged down with loads of dialogue, but it's enough you know, it's kind of like how you feel when you watch Stand By Me. They've sort of got that sort of camaraderie the boys have in the film. Obviously, it's a different movie to Stand By Me, but it does have that kind of feeling with their relationships. But then Trav says, you know, as soon as one of them is bumped off, you know, there is a good 30 minutes, 40 minutes where it gets really tense. It's a fantastic scene. This sort of carries on from the scene I was on about, where some of the kids escape from Cropsey on the raft and they go back to the others. And, like, you know, it's really well shot and they look really, like, distraught, like they've really been through this situation. Yeah, it's really good, I gotta be honest. It really, it can get you in the feels a little bit. You really want these kids to survive. It talks about the beginning of the film here, Trev, as well, where there's a scene where a scare backfires. So you do get a bit of exposition at the beginning as to how Cropsey got the way he was and things like that. I'm sure most people would have seen it, but there's no point in me giving you needless spoilers. But, you know, there is a bit that plays out at the beginning that does sort of link in at the end of the film and go full circle. So, yeah. And then, like all slashers do, you know, the ending does leave it open for a sequel. Not as open as some movies did, mind, like Friday the 30th with Jason appearing right at the end. But they could have made sequels if they wanted to. So I'm surprised, really, that there was no sequels made. I could probably wax lyrical about the film all day, but I'll probably leave it there now because it's really good and you just need to go and check it out for yourselves if you haven't. Pick it up on Arrow. It isn't like watching a video nasty. It's just like watching an 80s slasher like your Fridays the 13th. And it really needs to be checked out because, like Trev says, I would go along the lines to say it's better than Friday the 13th. I wouldn't say it's better than Halloween just because the movies are slightly different, but going along with the summer camp vibe of slashers, then yeah, it's definitely up there as the best, I would say. So Trev's giving it 10 out of 10. Before I even looked at Trev's notes, I don't read these beforehand in any sort of thoroughness because I don't want to sort of have my mind swayed. So I was thinking of giving it a glowing review and I was going to give it a good hefty 9 out of 10 as well. So we're definitely on the same wavelength here. Trev's giving it 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 because yeah, I'm just a bit tight like that. But overall then, that was The Burning and that was a fantastic film. Okay, so sorry the video took a bit long to come out. It's been a couple of weeks since the last one, but me and Trevor always said that we weren't going to put ourselves under too much pressure. It can get quite surreal watching too many cheapy old movies on the bench. Sometimes you need a break from it, really, to get your head right. So we're on to C now for the cannibal movies. Trev says bring on the cannibals. So we have got some good titles to delve into, like Cannibal Holocaust and things like that. But it's Christmas coming up as well. So I can't say an exact schedule, but we might not see the cannibal movies until the new year. But, you know, me and Trevor are as keen as ever. We've even spoke about how we can carry this series on afterwards, maybe the category 2s, category 3s, or taking modern day films that we feel really heavy and how they would have been viewed as nasties back in the day. So yeah, so we got some ideas. So, you know, the series is going nowhere. Plenty more of mine and Trevor's ugly mugs on your YouTube channel. So yeah, I've been Bumber. Thanks a lot, and I'll catch you soon.